So I may have gotten ahead of myself. I did quite a bit of work off camera. It's one of those things where you kind of you get motivated, you're in the project, and you just keep going, right? That's kind of what I did, and I did all that off camera. So hope you're doing great. It's Sunday. I just finished uploading the video of the first start. I'm going to go ahead and insert a clip now. That was taken shortly after that video. I did include that clip in the video I uploaded, but I did get the tune kind of better. I did get the truck running pretty good. I used a mixture of the HP tuner repository as well as a little bit of my own, thoughts in some of the VE tables and spark tables and things like that. Fires right up, idles great, revs up great. We'll know more once we can get it out in the open, and I can do some data logs and go from there. But yeah, so at that point it was time to go ahead and start with the cooling system and getting the truck put back together. So again, I did quite a bit off camera, but let's go over some of that. Okay, I have the core support on. I asked you for suggestions in the video I just uploaded, and unfortunately I'm still interested to see what your suggestions are and maybe your thoughts, but as you can see, I went ahead with my own thoughts, which was I cut up the core support a little bit. I do have to make a bracket for the radiator. Basically, I'm going to mount it up top. It's going to be a little piece of aluminum. It'll go over, and then I'll run 3 self-tapping screws into this top rail here, and that'll hold the radiator in real nice. As you can see, I've also got 2 12-inch fans. I will probably wire those up in today's video. I didn't put a shroud. I may regret that, but if I need to put a shroud on there, it wouldn't take too much to make. So maybe you can let me know what you think of that. Do I need a shroud? It's a pretty thick aluminum radiator with plenty of room and plenty of airflow. So I'm thinking we'll be all right without it, but who knows? We'll see what happens. So yeah, got the radiator in. It took quite a bit of cutting. I had to cut some off of this top rail. It's not the prettiest cut. I just used a cutoff wheel and a grinder, but all that's going to be covered up, so I'm not too worried about it. Over here, on the other hand, that kind of sucked. I did have to cut into the top on both sides to give me enough room to get the cap off. I'm not real happy with that. I may take a file to it, maybe get some rubber hose to add I don't know, and I may leave it as is. We'll see. But yeah, so now it's inset within the core support, plenty of room, as you can see. It's still very tight, but I mean that's about as good as you're going to get. So I did have to order the remote AC condenser from Current Performance. It'll mount in the front, and I'll probably have to run my lines through here, put some holes or something. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But it's a Sunday at the very end of April, and I ordered it over a week ago and still haven't got a shipment notification. So I'm wondering if they aren't also shut down and quarantined, but it is what it is at this point. I know shipping times are really extended, so we've all got to kind of, make do and just deal with the wait. I mentioned in the last video about the map sensor. So the Sniper intake, you can pick up a 2.5 bar map sensor. Right here, mounts very nicely into the back of the intake, and you can pick up this nice little expensive Holley adapter harness to run to which this I guess is the equivalent of like an LS3 type connector, but you can run it to the old style, which is this. And I thought, hey man, that'll work perfect. Not realizing that it took some changes in the tuning to make it work, and no matter, I've done all kinds of video watching and Google searching, and I can't really figure out the best way to tune that. What I did was I'm using the original sensor right there, and I'm gonna reroute this. But as you may or may not remember, I have one vacuum line coming from underneath this intake that's going to run into the HVAC system. So I took a brass tee and I just split into that main line, and I ran another piece of vacuum line to the bottom of the map sensor. It works perfect. I personally can't foresee any issues with that. It should still give a good reading. If you have your own issues, make them known, I guess. But yeah, the issue was the factory. This is what it is right here. This is what is around the bottom of the map sensor. It's similar to like an O-ring, but this is still, it was still too small to fit into the opening in the back of the intake to stay in there sturdy. There's no bolt or anything holding that down, right? So I just took this off altogether, and it's a perfect nipple for just a vacuum line. So works perfect, runs good, fantastic. So on my heater line setup, I have two short pieces of heater hose going into AN adapters. We got a -12 and a -10 going into the Red Horse Performance 120 degree AN fitting. From there I have nylon braided hose, which is more than fine for what this is going to be used for, going down into two 90s, which go into the side of this Holley mid-mount water pump. Fits perfect, looks great, kind of keeps it out of the way, but it has just enough little flash to go with the rest of the polished aluminum look on everything. I'm really happy with it. Let me know what you think. Lastly, before we get kind of on the projects for today, I have a new overflow tank. Unfortunately, it showed up with this piece broke. I'm thinking it's only 15 bucks, so I'm thinking I may just try and glue it on and just run it so I don't have to worry about the shipping, because as I mentioned just a minute ago, shipping is very delayed. Alright, I also got the return line and power steering cooler ran. Basically, it comes through the core support, and then there's a line that goes into the gear, and then you got your teed in return line. I'm aware that there's a remote reservoir that you can get. I just don't know how it'll work with the mid-mount setup. We're going to try and run it like this, and if it becomes an issue, then I'll have to look into it from there. I don't think it'll be an issue, but I've been wrong before. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so for today, let's go ahead, and I got to finish the Hydro Boost setup here with the rod. So the kit that I bought comes with everything you need to put this return spring, or to put this push rod in, but you have to cut to fit. And it has to be, it's a very tight clearance, so you can't just, cut off and get about right. So what I've done is I've measured and I've cut that off, and now basically I'm just test fitting, and then I'll use my grinding wheel right there to take off more material. And it's a very long process, because we've got to go, we've got to take off a little bit, test it, take off a little bit, test it, because if you go too much, there'll be too much play in the system, and it may not stop you when you need it to. If it's not enough, or let me rephrase that, if you take off too much, it may not stop you when you need it to. If you don't take off enough, your brakes may drag. You don't want either of those. So it's a kind of a fine process. So we're going to continue that. And what else do we got to do today? I don't know. I think we're just going to throwing stuff together. So we'll finish stuff in here, because obviously I don't want the fender on if I still need it in the engine bay, because it's tight, man. It is so tight. So let's get to work. Hopefully by the end of this video, we may be able to set her on the ground as a complete unit. And I do have a 4-inch cowl hood to test fit. I do have to get the Driveshaft measurements, because I need to either get the one I have shortened, or they're so cheap I may just get me the measurements and have a aluminum drive shaft made. I think they're like $350 or something like that from a few different places online. So either way, we got to get that measurement today so I can get something done there, because we're so close. I want to see if this thing will move and drive and have fun, right? And I want to burn these tires off so I can put new ones on. All right, I've done enough talking. Let's get working. Hydro Boost setup is finally complete. That took a lot of back and forth. I think you guys only see me do it a few times, but it took a long time to get that just right, because it was probably half that size or double that size whenever I got the kit. So I don't know if I showed you or not, but either way, pin or push rod is now set. Brakes aren't dragging, and they are, in my opinion, perfect. So also off camera, I did just go ahead and put the bottom radiator hose on. I am not happy with that setup. I will probably replace it. I made that one work from the factory Silverado lower hose, and it don't look bad from the top, but it's just it just doesn't line up real well. I'm gonna test it, but I'll probably end up replacing that. And on the top hose, you know, that one basically needs to come straight out, over, and straight in. So what I did, the factory Silverado hose, there's no way it'll work. I mean, it's not feasible. I was hoping it would be, you know, maybe cut it in half or something like that, but the way the bins work, it's just not doable. So instead of going to the parts store and trying just to look and see what they got and seeing what they might work and might not work, I ordered from, what was it? I ordered from Speedway a 90. It's 12 inches long, so obviously it's far too big, but I ordered 2 of them. So I'm going to come off of here, go over, and then I ordered a 6-inch aluminum connector. I thought it might look nice with everything else aluminum, so I'm going to go 6 inches with that, and I'm going to come right back in. That should get us perfect. I don't see any reason why that wouldn't work. Well, I mean, there is no reason why it will work, but I think it'll look good. I don't necessarily have to use the connector tube, at least I don't have to, I don't have to make it visible. I think I might like the look, so I'm gonna do that. Okay, so next, let's go ahead and replace that tank. Get the ECU wired back in, and I say we're probably ready for the fender. Once we're done with that, we'll do the fender. Cool? Let's get to it. What do you think? It's back on 4 wheels on the ground. Fender's on, inner fender's in. It was kind of a pain, you know, getting it lined up, but that was not bad at all. We got the fuse block back in, ABS bolted to the fender. Yeah, man, it looks really good. Really happy with it. Has a nice low stance. That little throttle body peeking over the core support there. But yeah, I think that'll be it for this video. Before we close out though, I want to see if we can set that hood on here and see what it looks like. So let's try that. Well, I think it looks pretty mean. What do you think? I think it looks pretty good on there. Obviously, it needs painted. And I do got to tweak this fender here. The gap is just too close in the front right here. This side, obviously, since I didn't touch that fender, is perfect. I did, I don't know if you noticed or not, but these have some unique bolts back here. They have a lip that goes in there in the circle, and I'm babbling here because I can't think of what they're called. But either way, I dropped that bolt way down in there. So I'm going to have to order one of those because there's no way I'm going to take the fender off to find it. So yeah, other than that, man, it fits great. It is a steel hood, not fiberglass, made by Pro Effects, I think it's called. Goodmark, I believe, makes it. But anyway, yeah, man, it's smooth. It opens up nice. It looks good. It clears the intake. See, watch. See? It is too close there. I'll just have to pull this fender out here a little bit, but I may have dinged the fender up top trying to get over because it is quite a bit heavier than it looks, but I'm planning on repainting the entire thing. It will stay yellow. I don't know if we ever talked about that, but it'll stay yellow because I'm not going to pull the engine back out to get the firewall. So, and plus, I mean, it's pretty cool. I'm not a big yellow fan, but I have to say the yellow Xtreme, I think it looks pretty good. Let me know what you think below. I'm a huge fan right now. I think it makes the truck, I guess you could say. Obviously, once we get the front bumper and stuff on, we'll get a better feel for how it all looks. Actually, let's just see if we can see what happens here. Trying to do this one-handed, so it probably ain't gonna work. Oh, there it goes. It's setting. There we go. It's coming along. What do you think? I'm a fan. So I think that'll do it for this video. We got quite a bit done. Everything under the hood is pretty much buttoned up. We do have to finish the top coolant hose, top radiator hose, and I gotta make a bracket to kind of hold the radiator in. I'm still waiting on my remote AC condenser. Hopefully that shows up this week, we'll see. I did get the measurements from my drive shaft, so I will get that on order this week as well. I could probably have my stock one cut down, but for the cost of a new one, I'll just get a new one. I think I'm gonna go with an aluminum drive shaft. I think I don't know. It don't need it. It's not powerful enough, but why not, right? I'm this far, we're gonna keep going, so aluminum it is. I'm not gonna go all out and go with a carbon fiber or anything like that because there's no need, but if it all shows up and we get the radiator plumbed up, there's no reason why we can't take it down the road, right? I mean, it won't be really road ready, but we can go to a burnout. So hopefully, maybe by the next video, this thing will be running. We can take it for a quick spin. Open headers, of course, why not? So that'll do it. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time.